Alrighty then. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I was so busy with my German sushi and fucking around learning German, and next thing you know, Jackie's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" "Oh, fuck, we're supposed to be doing a podcast." So that was really unprofessional. And then I get here, and then of course, I'd done a bit of a clean on the computer, so all the preset stuff that I had ready wasn't ready. So I had to do a quick reset, get the freaking microphone working. But I did find time to get a drink. So sips, very important. I just seen there jaw drop there for a minute there, Jackie. Did you need time to go and get yourself a drink? Is that where you're going? Just give me a nod if that's the case. Or are we all good? No, you're not good? Oh, anyway, we're going to do this in two parts. We're going to get Jackie on to talk about the upcoming court cases and whatnot. And we're also, after that, we'll have a bit of a yarn about some of the election stuff that's been going on. Some people have sent me some stuff, some good citizen journalism going on, people making observations and sharing interesting things. But before we go, just to get started, I think it's important to start with a bit of a laugh, don't you? We'll go and share this one because nothing makes me laugh harder than looking at the comments and Albo's X posts. So there he is, looking like a complete twat that he is, shaking hands with his master. And all right, well, that totally stuffed up because I haven't logged in. So there, I did have that logged in, but I had to reset. So anyway, that one went away. We'll come back to that later. How are you? Let's see if we can save this disaster of a beginning. No, how you going? Can you hear me? Hello? I can hear my daughter in the background saying, "Yes, we can hear you." Can you hear me, Jackie? We all good?
Didn't mean it needs to be charged. He goes right in with that. Here.
You right? Can you hear me, Jackie? Hello?
Hey, mate, I can barely hear you. We're just trying to set up a Bluetooth speaker so I can hear you.
All right, no worries. You want me to give you a couple of minutes in?
Why does this always happen to me?
I'll tuck you backstage or wait for you to get that speaker. Give me a nod when you're ready.
Cool.
All right. So in the meantime, I might see if we can log in to that X thing, and we'll see if we can have a bit of a laugh then. A good old elbow, because nothing makes me laugh harder than the comment section in an elbow post. He's just so well loved these days. So I also noticed that in Victoria, the good old Labor government are doing their typical communist thing and complete blatant disregard for what people said regarding the voice. So best of luck to all the poor Victorians. I've seen a few posts getting around, people saying something to the effect of, whenever you think your life sucks, just give a thought out there to, there's people out there that live in Victoria. So, I used to be one, smart enough to have left. It's certainly a shithole. There's my login things. This is going to take forever. You got to jump in through all these friggin' hoops. Where is it? All right, only that bit. And log in. I have to put extra security on all of this stuff, especially seeing we're getting closer to elections. It was interesting the other day. I noticed that somebody's been trying to hack into my accounts, So it's funny. That same thing seemed to happen the last time we had a mayoral election going on too. It's very interesting. I have to check with Troy, see if people have tried to hack into his stuff again. The Townsville Bulletin, obviously, I think that the proper way to say it is bulletin. Bulletin is the proper way to say bulletin because it's just a big bulletin sitting up there conjuring up shit and stealing more content from me. I really appreciate that. We're going to have a look into the repercussions for you lot because I've had enough of you friggin' bastards paying no attention to a public notice that says this is my property, hands off. Go and get your own news story. Seriously, you guys that incompetent. And then you have the nerve to not even acknowledge where you got it from. Just call it some fringe network. Well, I'm so fringe that you got to watch these podcasts to get your stories. Fuck you, you bastards. I'm coming for you. You're going to learn. I'm going to teach you a lesson for being assholes. I've had enough of yous. You shit journalists and your biased garbage. So, but I want to thank you for providing the opportunity for me to have some fun with you. And for providing this open space here, because in the absence of you telling the full story, it leaves me having to go and do it. So you've done me a lot of favors in a lot of ways, but you can't go around stealing people's shit. It's that simple. 25-second clip, right? And, you know, now that we've got that going, we can have a look at Elbows. You know, you see, you know, everybody's so happy to see Elbow as always. Good to see you at your best and your partner in crime. Posted good old China Dan in there. You know, what lovely comments about being a commie. You know, bugger off. Yeah, it's just it's amazing. Like, how does this guy continue to gold? Artistic genius coming on here, you know, with some of these posts. It's just brilliant. You know, the community is really getting behind. I love the Winnie the Pooh because that pisses Cheaping off as well, giving him the Elba Fudd look. You know, I love this one. Look, Donald, Mr. She gave me 5 stars. Gold, comedic genius. Like, you know, whoever come up with that, very well done. Very well done. You know, that's gold. You know, Australia is only better than Mexico on this economic ranking. Have a look at that. You know, wow, we're doing so well. Thanks, Elbow. Running the country into the ground. Sips, mate. Done an astounding job. Are you ready there, Jackie? Yep, we're ready to go. How are you going?
Good, thanks. And yourself?
Yeah, good. Sorry, we're a bit late and a bit disorganized today.
Oh, that's all right.
I was just so busy, you know, fucking flicking through my Duolingo thing, learning German and stuffing sushi into my mouth. I only got halfway through my sushi too. Being very multicultural today, learning German while eating sushi.
Na und wie geht's dir, Betty?
Run that past me one more time.
Na und wie geht's dir? That's slang in German for hi, how you going?
Oh, right. That's why I'm struggling. Oh, yeah. I haven't got the slang section down yet.
I'll teach you the slang.
No
yes,
worries.
well, I'm as good as can be. I'm as good as can be living down here in shit old bloody Victoria with new laws and bills and shit just caused. I tell you, it's mad down here. It's a freaking madhouse.
So the weather must be doing all right for you. I noticed the arms are out and.
Yeah, it's 31 today.
Wow.
31. I know.
That's
31 down here today, yeah. Yeah. Well, today's the 1st, isn't it? 1st of November.
2nd.
2nd.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I just checked the date to make sure I had the right month before I said it wrong.
Well, you know what spring's like. It's hot weather, rain. Hot rain.
Yeah. It's usually cold and rain. It's my experience, you know. But I usually don't find you don't start to see good weather until about the end of December, and even then, I've experienced many cold, rainy Christmases in Victoria. So
it snowed here one Christmas.
There you go.
There you go.
That's one thing you can say about the Victorian weather. You can never be bored by it.
Absolutely, keeps you guessing.
That's for sure. So anyway, now we've done the Weather Channel bit. You know, we've got our news stories all backwards. We're doing the weather at the beginning. So, yep, sips. Got to stay well lubricated. So, oh shit. How are we going with the doctor? The 2 doctors, Beverly and Valerie, and Rod Culleton's case. I believe that you had a bit of a call out going for the court cases the other day.
Yes.
How's it all going?
Well, on the Friday the 14th of November is the directions hearing in the Supreme Court, and that is to Rod and Dr. Beverly have joined to sue High Court Registrar Anna Bennett. She is obstructing access into the High Court. She is perverting the course of justice. So, so what occurred was, as everyone knows, both Rod and Dr. Beverly had a directions hearing in the High Court on the 9th of April. So this is how this is all eventuated. There's all this stuff going on in the background with it. And the justice that heard the matter on the 9th of April was Justice Beach Jones. He is the most newly appointed High Court Justice, and he's come up from the New South Wales Supreme Court, which is where the matter is on Friday. Oh, Dee Dee's here with me, as you know. And he's also, get your head in here and say hi. He is the one that was on the Kazam versus Hazard case as well.
Rightio.
That was, what are they, AFL solicitors?
Yeah.
Tony Nikolic. Tony. Didn't argue it properly, Tony. I'm going to continue to hammer you for that, mate. They took it into the Supreme Court and challenged the directions of the show. That's what they did. Anyhow, let's not go into that. I'm not going to get distracted. So on the 9th of April in the High Court, Justice Beach Jones remitted both Rod and Dr. Beverly's matters down to the federal court, even though they had produced very sound and solid arguments using High Court case law, showing that the High Court is the correct jurisdiction for their matters, simply because the remedy both of them seek is to invalidate sections of a state act. So even though the federal court can hear constitutional matters and anything to do with federal acts or law, the federal court does not have what's called territorial operation. So it cannot provide them the remedy they seek to invalidate sections of the state acts. Rod's challenging sections of the Emergency Management Act, WA, and Dr. Beverly is challenging sections of the Public Health and Wellbeing Act, to invalidate them. So they then put in a jurisdictional challenge to the High Court and an injunction on the federal court proceeding to hear the matter until the High Court had determined whether or not the federal court had the jurisdiction to hear the matter. And this is where the shitfuckery has happened. We've got gatekeepers there. So the first registrar rejected the matter using High Court Rule 6.07.1. Now, they expect us to adhere to the High Court rules. You got to have your font right and your margins and et cetera, et cetera. Yet they're not adhering to their own High Court rules. So with 6.07.1, the registrar would reject a matter on the face of it, just, glimpsing over it, because on the face of it, it looks to be ill-conceived or frivolous. Now, both Rod and Dr. Beverly's matters are far from that. They are very, very solid cases. The authorities relied on in the cases. It's nearly all High Court case law. So when the registrar rejects the matter using this High Court rule, they must provide you their reasoning, intelligible, justifiable grounds. Why am I rejecting this matter? Because it looks ill-conceived, because da-da-da. So there's no explanation, nothing. The second element is, under that rule, he's also meant to contact the applicants and give them an opportunity to explain or discuss whatever it may be. So he failed in that. So we then sent in a challenge to him to sue him because he was perverting the course of justice. And this is when his colleague stepped in, Anna Bennett, to protect him. And she rejected the matter to sue him. And she gave the grounds as, I'm sorry, this is long-winded, people.
No. I'm trying to wrap my head around it.
The High Court rule she used was 6.072. So I thought, hold on a minute. How did you get to point 2 before going through point 1? Have you just done exactly the same thing as your colleague? So an email was sent to Anna Bennett to say, how did you arrive at High Court Rule 6.072? Did you actually go through the first one, 6.071? And she confirmed in writing that yes. So bang, what you've done is even worse, love. So she just neglected to even mention that 6.071 was the first step of the grounds of rejection. She leapt to the next one to say that we needed to seek leave of a justice. So this is the shit fuckery in the system that so many of us are aware of, and we need to be going over things with a magnifying glass to catch them out.
Yeah.
Because these people seem to think that they are above the law, and they're not.
Yep, it certainly seems to be the case everywhere you look at the moment too. It's, you know, like they just don't give a shit. There's a set of rules for them and a set of rules for the rest of us as far as they're concerned. You know, it's it's beyond a joke. I guess it shows the desperation, you know, that they have to resort to such pathetic methods and childish tactics in order to defeat this, because obviously this is a solid case, and these issues are of the utmost importance to the dictatorship. So
absolutely.
Again, I see it as a positive in a sense, you know, because it just shows how corrupt. And every time they do this, they continue to demonstrate how corrupt the system is and how much they are on the wrong side of history here.
Absolutely. They're exposing themselves. And look, I applaud everyone that is going into the courts and doing this, and there are so many. So this is the thing. We, the people, must have access to the High Court. We cannot be stopped. You know, they've got the filter system as such to be able to reject matters, like if they're frivolous or vexatious, you know, and there's no real grounds. If it's a badly written or ill-conceived case, sure, you know, reject it. But when the cases like these, so Rod's is pertaining to Section 92 of the Constitution, and he's covering a couple of different elements. So he's challenging the ability of the quarantine power to transcend that of trade and commerce, basically. And the thing is, when Palmer was heard, when that matter was heard, late 2020, with a decision handed down in early 21, the borders had not been closed for that long. It may have only been like maybe a month or 6 weeks. So at the time of Palmer's matter, the quarantine power hadn't transcended or risen above trade and commerce, because that's something, you know, from the Sydney debates with Dr. Coburn, it's been, you know, very established and repeated throughout High Court case law, that the quarantine power cannot transcend that of trade and commerce. For to do so would be something that the Constitution forbids. But Western Australia had their borders closed for 2 years. We were no longer Australia.
Yeah. Reverted back to colonies.
Yeah, we were no longer federated. So Rod is also challenging the ability of the state acts to do this continual rollover. You know, we're going to lock us all down for another month, locking us down for another month. They can't do it. The states cannot close the borders. Like, even though I'm from Victoria, I'm an Australian and I've got the right to travel my nation unhindered. They cannot close our borders. You know, there'd be different reasons, you know, different emergencies where it would be accepted. Like if genuinely there was some kind of deadly infectious disease, you wouldn't go across the border. Or, for example, if there was a bushfire or some kind of natural disaster, they'd close the borders, you know, so people aren't driving into danger. So the other, so Rod's got challenging the quarantine power because it did transcend trade and commerce. He's challenging the ability of the states to continually roll over quarantine. And he's also having a go at what's called the McCloy test, which is being used in the courts. So the McCloy test is where when the justices are going over matters, they will look at acts, for example, and say, is this act fair? Is it reasonable? And it's none of their bloody business. That is not for them to determine due to the separation of powers. The judicial branch can only look at, is this act constitutional? Is it lawful? That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. So it's a breach of the separation of powers for them to go, no, is it fair or reasonable? We don't give a rat's ass. Is it constitutional? That's the legislative's role to determine whether acts are fair or, fair and reasonable, not the judicial. So that's Rod's matter. And then Dr. Beverly's is the section 109, which is inconsistency of laws. So every single health act across this nation, they were being used, their effect on us was that of a state industrial law when it came to the workplace. So we've got the Fair Work Act 2009, a federal act that, of course, it's federal. That's applicable all over Australia. And the federal acts are superior to the state's acts, and a state act cannot circumvent or rise above a federal act. So in the employee-employer relationship, the Fair Work Act is king. And it's section 26 of the Fair Work Act. The Commonwealth have written, this act is to the exclusion of any state industrial law. So it is in writing within the Act. At section 26(2) of the Fair Work Act, it provides the definition of what a state industrial law is. And these state health acts meet at least 10 of those qualifications. So, is the state act putting conditions into the workplace? Is it putting regulations into the workplace? Is it getting involved with the employee-employer relationship agreements? Damn straight they were. There's absolutely no argument with that. That is irrefutable. So that is an indirect inconsistency. And a direct inconsistency is if the state act, it's what's called alters, impairs or detracts from the operation of a federal act. And it stopped the operation altogether because no one apparently could go to work unless they met the qualification of being vaccinated that was laid out in the state act. The shit fuckery in this is unbelievable. And you cannot tell me they didn't know what they were doing.
Oh, yeah. They know damn well.
They know damn well.
They're so incompetent they shouldn't be in the position that they're in.
Yeah, look, Dr. Beverly's matter has a broader application, which I'm quite excited about as well, because the question is, if the state cannot circumvent the Constitution or Commonwealth federal acts, can corporations circumvent the Constitution and federal acts?
I don't think so.
No, they can't. So this... Yeah, they're regulated under 5120, as Darren said. They're all constitutional corporations. So that's another argument with there are a lot of these constitutional corporations within the meaning of section 5120 that we are in the belief or that they are actually limbs of government. And they're not.
Yeah.
Bit like government, corporation.
Yeah.
But they cannot administer law. Corporations cannot administer law. The shitfuckery that's going on is astronomical. So I'll send through to you, Batty. I'll send you a copy of Rod's case.
Yep.
And Dr. Beverly's, because this is the thing that I want to do. I want to get these cases out so people can actually read over them and see the arguments that are being presented. And I ask everybody, please, support these cases. Rod and Dr. Beverly, Dr. Valerie, we've just also lodged an online safety Act case matter to invalidate it, and it will be also looking at the Digital ID Act. Neither of these acts have any enumerated head of power to be traced back to. They're invalid, absolutely invalid. I wonder who's really good on that.
I don't know.
I don't know. He's brilliant with that stuff. So this is the thing, they're not hiding anything anymore. They are just blatantly, they're shitting in our faces. They're not even trying to hide what they're doing. So look what's occurred down here in Victoria. You know, we had this voice referendum, which the Australian people said no. They've just gone ahead and implemented it down here in Victoria. And we know, we know it's a land grab. So this is the bullshit of it all. The states do not have a treaty power. That is a power that is exclusive to the Commonwealth. So that's one point. The states, you ain't got no treaty power. Number two, treaties can only be entered into between two or more independent nations. You cannot treaty inside your own nation. This is all smoke screens and mirrors. They're doing it like, come on, we just voted no. And they're going, oh, well, you know what? Too bad. We're going ahead and doing it anyhow.
It just shows the blatant disregard for the will of the people.
Oh, absolutely. And, they think they can do what they want.
They're clearly not representing the views of the people. It's blatantly obvious, you know. It's I don't know. Can we ET phone home and get some help on this one? Because, you know.
No, get behind these cases. Batty, I'll give you, we're using the Community Law Resources bank account. Daryl's been kind enough and Darren to, because this account was, you know, set up years ago and it wasn't being used for anything except, you know, stuff in the past. But I think the CLRA stopped now. Yep. Regardless, Daryl's sort of taken it over again. Right. And Darren's a part of it. And like, I've known these guys for 20, 25 years. You know, they're family to me. Trust them implicitly. So they've been kind enough to say, look, we can get donations put into that account. So I'm going to ask
Constitution Watch regarding that.
Can you put something up on that about that?
We can.
Darren will put something on Constitution Watch about that. See, this is the thing. We need plaintiffs, Batty. We've got all of these people jumping up and down about this, that, and the other thing. And how about Australians, let's all get together and get behind anybody who puts their hand up to represent this country in court. So we've got a matter ready to lodge for the land tax, for example. We've got a matter ready to lodge for immigration, which is based on the immigration limb has well and truly been spent. We must look after our own, and we cannot be bringing in new immigrants when this nation cannot sustain them with food. They're like, this is.
I made that point ages ago. I was arguing with a moron, you know, otherwise known as a reporter, you know, when I was working at Win TV, you know, the attitude was, so we shouldn't be bringing Muslims in. I'm like, no, we shouldn't be bringing anybody in. We do not have the infrastructure for the amount of people that are coming in. And that was 8 years ago. And now
I'm
it's
the
gone into
same, Betty.
overdrive.
Yep.
It's fucking ridiculous now. Like, where is people supposed to live? Where are you going to put them? How are you going to feed them? I mean, even in a simple place like here in Townsville, they've been whinging about not having enough water. So what do we do? Let's keep building. What?
Look,
I mean, this sewage is overflowing every time that we end up with a flood. So everybody's looking forward to this year's Punami as wet season kicks in, and the council still have failed to fix up the sewage problem. So there's going to be people down in certain areas going to have shit flowing through their homes again. Not to mention it floods down the main highway when the sewers overload. I mean, come on, guys. You've got to build infrastructure and you've got to maintain it too, which is one of the big points that we've been making in some of the videos I've been doing for Troy Thompson's campaign. So we went over to Magnetic Island to see the decrepit state of everything. It's just nuts. These people, they just keep taking money for allegedly providing these services, and they don't do it. They're just ruining everything.
Look, everything needs to be totally restructured. This government has got to go. There's no doubt about it. They need to be disqualified. For
accountability. That's one of the big things.
Absolutely.
They just come in, they do whatever the hell they want. Nobody gets fired. Nobody gets punished. They're basically stealing from the public with their ridiculous amounts of rates and taxes and all that, and then they spend it as they see fit. No, this needs to end.
Absolutely, it needs to end. Look, this is the other thing, the planning and development departments of government, they're not doing their job. Houses should never be built on river flats that flood every 100 or 200 or 300 years. If you are building in those areas, you must have not just the infrastructure, but you'd have to have building regulations, for example, where houses are up on stilts or what have you. But, this is the thing. And down here in Victoria, this is the madness. Now, when you think about our nation, you've got all the alluvial soils or the agricultural and pastoral land, which is around the edge, around the edge, and just in a little bit. The centre's all desert. And then you look at, like here in Victoria, most of the north of Victoria and off to the west, that's just desert. It's rock. Are they building the new housing developments on unusable land? No. What are they doing? They are removing all of our market gardens and our pastoral lands and putting them under concrete. Like, this is insane what is going on in this country.
Oh, yeah. Utter madness.
Absolutely crazy.
Let's see another good one here. Again, another one of the wonderful Victorian scenarios that, the King Valley locals powerless to stop a $750 million solar farm. They've just decided that's it. We've written the laws to do whatever the hell we want, despite, where was it? It was 500 objections. 500
Where's this, Betty? Is this Victoria?
This is Victoria, yeah.
I'd like to get in touch with those people. We'll do something with them.
Here. They're putting on prime agricultural land.
Yep.
I can help you with that.
They just don't give a shit.
They listen, do not give a shit. This is what they're doing. As we know, everything, the claims that they are making are without any facts in evidence. Climate change, the only climate change there is naturally occurring. We've got the changing of the seasons, we've got different, every 50, 100 years or what have you. But the Earth has been going through climate change since its birth. It's nothing new. However, this geoengineering and HARP, etc., it is blatant weather manipulation, increasing the damage that storms can do. And this spraying of our skies is putting they're blocking certain rays of the sun out. They are loading chemicals. So we've got these toxic chemicals going through our soil, our air, our water, etc. So this is the other thing. The effects of these things are not noticeable in one generation. And this is why so many people are blind to it, because it has a generational effect.
Yeah, the poor brainwashed kids going through school and university, getting all this shit pumped into them, who have not had the life experience to know any better and actually believe the bullshit that's being shoveled to them. That's one of the most disturbing things when I'm talking to morons, aka reporters, is they've come straight out of the socialist indoctrination centers with no fucking clue, no real life experience, and they just regurgitate this shit because they think that's a fact, because some idiot told them in a school.
Yeah, they think cows are responsible for too much CO2. Look,
yeah, that's
it's
it. All
crazy.
Those cows farting, it's killing us, you know?
It's crazy. This is the thing. CO2 is such a crucial element in our atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
And without CO2, we don't have plant growth. So the plants provide us with our oxygen. And the forest and the oceans are what is known as carbon sinks. And it is this symbiotic relationship. I mean, they are the lungs.
They've got the sequence backwards. They're trying to say that CO2 causes the climate. It's actually the climate is causing the CO2. It's the other way around. They've got it all fucking. Everything's ass about and backwards. There's an important question here, though. Anna Costa wants to know what's the best way to keep up with what you're doing, Jacquie. Or is there like a
Jackie's just got to get her shit together and do some videos. I'm going to try and do a few like short videos just to cover things such as, you know, the arguments pertaining to Rod's case, the Section 92, and Beverly's case, the Section 109. We've got an implied freedom. Beverly is in the Supreme Court, I think, with that is her next one, but we're also starting up another implied freedom matter, and we are looking for a plaintiff for that. So if anybody genuinely wants to put their hand up and be a plaintiff in one of these cases, please email Daryl O'Brien and Darren Dixon at info@knowyourrightsgroup.com.au. And this is where I ask, please, Australians, donate to the CLRA account. Everything will be transparent. All the transactions there will be being paid for costs awarded against plaintiffs, filing and lodging of documents, etc. Registered mail, whatever is needed, it is all related to the cases. And we need plaintiffs to be able to step forward and be comfortable to know that they are not going to be out of pocket. As Australians, we all together will support you through this account and ensure that, you know, you're not going to end up, It's the only way to do this, Batty. It seriously is.
Yeah.
It is the only way to do it. And
fight them in the courts. So just to make sure I got that email address, so it's info@knowyourrightsgroup.com or the date
.au. Yeah.
Right, let's bring that banner down and fix it.
Thank you.
.au.
So we've got a
that one.
info@knowyourrights. Yep, group.com.au. Beautiful. Thank you, mate. So so much shit fuckery. So with this bullshit with the treaties down here in Victoria.
Before we go any further, to answer that question before, can people just follow you on Facebook? Is that the best way at the moment?
Yeah, Facebook. I've got to speak to some friends and work out how I can get on another platform or something, because that's the thing. I had some really good educational videos on Facebook.
X is a good platform to go on these days. I think we're getting.
Yeah, Darren's just saying X as well, because Facebook have removed everything that's, you know, over 30 days old.
Yeah, that's it. It's really hard. You can't. They've decided that history is no longer important on Facebook. It's only recent events. They're as bad as the fucking the mainstream media now, where unless it happened yesterday, it's not important. Sorry, if I don't know about it, then it's still important. It's still relevant. You know, if it happened in fucking 1975 and I didn't know about it, then it's relevant.
You see, this is where it is up to us to implement the changes that we seek. Nobody else is going to do this. We've got to do it in the right frequency. We must do it peacefully, and lawfully. And
That's right.
we need
Can't be getting
to
around like Ted Bullpit going around. Someone should blow nuns up. You know, you got to actually get involved and don't blow people up.
look. We need to be the authors. We are going to write our future, and we are the ones who are going to document the truth and ensure that history is recorded correctly. Because history is a lie. Everything is a lie that they are teaching us. So this is what I say. I think I've said it to you before, Betty. I am not and never have been a part of the freedom movement. I will not walk the streets yelling freedom because I am free and I own it. This is a truth evolution. I'll give you two. Revolution is it's got a negative sort of connotation to it, and a revolution is going in circles. This is an ascension. This is a truth evolution, and this is the way forward. Everything must be in truth and in the right frequency.
Definitely. That's it. It's the moving up, not round in circles, not backwards and forwards. No more 2 steps forward, 1 step back, forwards and upwards.
Yep, absolutely. We document everything, which we have been doing. You know, like everyone, especially over the past 5 years, there's some amazing people that have got, they've got everything documented. Like we, the people, when we get together, the people of the Commonwealth, if we were to gather together and collect up all the evidence that every one of us has got, even just over the last 5 years, it would be millions and millions of documents evidencing the crimes and the corruption that has been perpetrated against us. So
it's one hell of a situation where there's just stacks and stacks and stacks of crime and corruption. And I mean, I was talking to some people the other day, you know, just regarding the shit fuckery that is our Townsville City Council. And it's like you come across so many people that know the difference between right and wrong, but they're concerned about their cash flow, you know. Oh, but if I stand up and do the right thing, the council will cut me off. I won't get my job, you know, and that's the situation we're in right now, and we've seen that pushed forward through the COVID 1984 era, where we're just going to cut you off unless you comply, you know, economically and physically starve you out.
That's exactly right. People they're being feared, coerced into sitting back and doing nothing for fear of the consequences of having their bank accounts closed or losing their job. Look, it's absolutely disgusting.
Insulted, you know, people don't want to speak up about certain things because you get called a cooker or something retarded like that.
Oh, bring it on. Look, this is the other thing.
Sticks and stones. Well, I'm pretty sure we used to teach that to children. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. But apparently words are like knives these days, and we need safe places to hide from them.
Well, we've got a case on this. We've got a case. We need a plaintiff for this as well. So Rod's covering our freedom of movement. Dr. Beverly is covering our right to bodily autonomy. And the states will never again have that control over us that you've got to, you know, undergo a vaccination or you lose your livelihood.
Yeah.
What a low, low act that is.
That's full-blown communism.
Yep. And then the implied freedom pertains to, you know, our freedom of speech. We have the right to, as I said, walk this nation, access the seat of government and stake our claims.
Yeah.
And we have the right to say anything we want and behave in any manner we choose, providing it is not inciting violence. That is basic. That is the basic bottom line. You are not to incite violence or cause harm, and you know, don't defame people. But we can say whatever we want. We can wear what we want, and we can do what we want, providing it's not a criminal act, etc. Or yeah. So
well, that's it. You're free to do whatever you like, so long as what you're doing isn't, you know, shitting in someone else's lunchbox, basically.
Basically,
I'll
we've
put
got
it
our
in
old.
the Bogan vernacular.
I love it. I love it. That's what I love about Rod Culleton. Oh my God, he cracks me up. He's the biggest larrikin I've come across. I think it's funny, but yeah, this is the answer. It is the only way. Through the courts, getting the judicial branch, they are the only ones that can control the executive and the legislative branches. So we sit back and say, we don't care who's sitting at the top, whatever Jesuit you are up there, sitting there with the Zionists, etc. I don't care. How are you able to implement these control mechanisms, and how are they removing our rights? Through the puppets in government that are writing acts and legislation. That is how they are how it is affecting us through that. So that's where we've got to pull apart these acts and go, oh yeah, is that how you're going to do it to us? Really? Let's have a look at that. Guess what?
Yeah.
That's unconstitutional. I think we're just going to invalidate that. Bang. You can't do that anymore. Next one. One brick out of the wall at a time, the whole wall will fall down.
Yeah, that's it. And that can only happen by people staying informed and learning what's really going on. Put the garbage friggin' Netflix aside and start learning something of use to you. All good and well. People want to watch sports and all that. Personally, I'm not a big fan of watching grown men playing with their balls in public myself. It's not really my thing, but at the end of the day, let's face it, if you do enjoy watching grown men play with their balls in public, the outcome of that game is not going to affect whether you've got food on your table. What the government is doing to you does, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we've just got to, this is what I say, everyone's got a role to play. Whether or not, like, I'm allowed now, so I can get out there. I don't mind confrontation, and I love the law and I love learning it, so I absorb it well. Then you've got others that, maybe like quieter people. They'll be chatting with people at the supermarket or their neighbours or something. Everyone's role is just as important as the other. This is all about community, sharing information and sharing knowledge, and importantly, doing your best to ensure that that information is accurate. So with everything we are doing, you can read the cases, you can see the arguments, and as I said, the cases are based on what's called the authority that the High Court justices themselves rely upon when they are bringing forward their decisions or determinations, or perhaps they're setting a new precedent. So, like, this isn't rocket science. These cases are very, very solid. So, as I said, we've just lodged the online case to knock out the Online Safety Act, which will take out the Digital ID Act. We've also got one that we want to run with the treaty. So this is the bullshit. The states do not have the power to do treaties. It is exclusive to the Commonwealth. I'm sorry, the state of Victoria. You cannot treaty within a nation. The whole thing is just a stage show. It's all null, void and invalid. But unfortunately, we are in a situation.
I look at that situation as like either you're acknowledging that the current system is invalid and that the native people of this land are still in power, or this system is in power. Which one is it? You can't be both. To me, the whole idea of a treaty is that you're working to make a deal, on a situation where both sides have something to offer. Now, when I did
You cannot do that within a nation. It is different for First Nations treating with each other, okay, under First Nations law, because I agree with the Terra Nullius argument. I do. But we are in a situation where we've now got 27 million people in this country. And I only found out in Canberra that First Nations, each tribe has their own law. So look,
Yeah.
Keith Charles wrote a wonderful.
369 sets of laws for everyone in Australia to learn doesn't seem very practical.
No.
And
So
this is why I've been loving the work that some of the Indigenous are doing, you know, in trying to come together in that regard, because until those 369 tribes unite, then they're really pushing shit uphill in a lot of ways, you know. Once they've done that, then they have formed a nation. And I think that's what our government is realizing is the big threat. So they're trying to go, well, look, just let us continue do what we're doing. You know, we'll you know, buy you off in some way, and you know, everything will be fine. Because I believe our government is well aware of the fact that if the 369 tribes were to come together and form a nation, they're out.
Look, Danny Searle and I, rest in peace, Danny. We started with a closed circle group. It was Danny, myself, Helen Delaney, Luke, and we had about 10 First Nations representatives. And we met, it was once every week or 2 weeks, I can't remember exactly. And the idea was, this is how the convoy to Canberra started. We worked on that for months and months. And Uncle Max, rest in peace, utmost respect, he was the elder of these meetings. My understanding, he is the founder of IMOP. Now, he passed in, I think it was October 2021. And we were at a stage where First Nations were reaching out to all the other tribes. So as a united together, we were all going to go to Canberra. I'm going under Constitution, and I support First Nations with all of their arguments with Terra Nullius. I mean, it's irrefutable. But this is the thing, and this is what I say. The Constitution is the supreme written law of this nation. Okay, and that's my showing respect to First Nations, because their law's not written. But this is all just an illusion. All of this business now in Victoria, due to this treaty, where it's going to, no one's got any say, no one can object to anything. It is going through, now this is my understanding, it's going through 7 or 8 tribe representatives, which will be, because I was speaking to Sister Colleen about this the other day, and I said, well, those 7 to 8 tribe representatives that are going to be making all of these decisions, I presume they are very well respected elders of these tribes, and I presume they are, you know, true to this nation, you know, that we are the custodians of this nation, and we must nurture and protect this land. And Colleen, you know, it is as we presume, it'll just be government putting corporates in there. And what they want to do with this nation is get as many people out of here as possible, destroy us, and mine the entire continent.
Yeah.
That's what the plan is.
Yeah.
So
that's
what this bullshit.
From the UN websites over the last 10 to 15 years, where they openly state we will use traditional landowners, and that's not just here in Australia. That's in America, that's in Canada, that's in all these colonized areas. You know, is to create this panic and this fear amongst them and get them all riled up to want to overthrow their government, just like they did with the Bolsheviks in Russia. They're replicating the same concept by using the First Nations people. And it's almost like Hitler and the Nazis all over again, because that's what their principle was too. You know,
absolutely.
We were here first. We are the great race here. This was our land, and we're going to implement socialism in its name. You know, it's has anybody ever picked up a history book? It does my head in.
But so much of it is lies as well. Don't forget the Victor writes the history book.
It's it's using that Freudian psychological assault to make you afraid and panicked, and but we can empower you. Just hand over all your rights.
Oh well, we're going to take them off you because we're keeping you safe.
Yeah,
that's what they're doing. But yeah, look, the whole thing is the government are responsible for creating every single situation that is causing hardship and that is causing division, whether that be through race or whether that be through religion.
Divide and conquer.
Yeah. So I don't. This is an attack, a worldwide attack on humanity, and the sooner we recognise that. We must all band together. We are all equal. We all breathe in the same air. We walk the earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. We are all made of the same thing. We must learn. It's not a matter of learning. We must remember how it used to be. We must respect each other and our different views and opinions. You know what I'm saying? So all races, religions, creeds and colours can live together in harmony. The government are the ones that are facilitating or creating situations, and no doubt there's sideshows, as most of them have been, like the Black Lives Matter with, what was his name, George Floyd. That was all a stage show. And this business...
the guy held a gun to a pregnant woman's belly. We want to use him as the marching point. Are you for real? What?
And you don't notice when that was?
Shit.
That was implemented in COVID when everybody was going, something's not right. Something's not right. The world was waking up. Bang, let's do black against white. Yeah, the old black against white will distract them. And then everyone goes in and, they spend hours watching, rewatching and rewatching, the film or the footage. It's the same with the Charlie Kirk crap. Listen, the past is the past. We need to get our heads out of that and focus on moving forward. From this point forward, we are all equal and we must band together. United we stand. It's the only way we're going to do this. That's all there is to it.
Yep. Wholeheartedly agree. And, leading by example. I think there was a comment there. Somebody, we've got a couple of starred comments here. It's a full-time job keeping up with the changes and updates of acts. Yeah, well, that's why we don't do this alone, Carol. The whole idea is to just focus on what you can work on, what does appeal to you, I'll look at it a bit later, but some people have been going through the election rules because it's relevant to right here, right now. And we've kind of determined that just about everyone who's got a sign up somewhere around Townsville right now for their mayoral campaign is no doubt breaking the law. And we'll look at that a little bit further. You got to pick your battles.
That's it. And everyone's got their role. Yeah. Everyone's got their role. Betty, I've given this example in the past. All Australians need to recognise and be confident that the Constitution provides us protections and guarantees. The Constitution is a restraint on government and it is the supreme written law of this nation. When I lived in the States back in the mid to late 80s, I was based in West Virginia. At that point in time, it was the second poorest state in America. 98% of West Virginians were illiterate. So it was a very lower socioeconomic area. But if someone got in trouble with the police, they were confident and they were able to stand and say, I got constitutional protection. They couldn't read one word, they couldn't name one section, but they stood in that knowledge. Right. And that's what I'm saying to people. You don't have to know the Constitution. You don't have to be able to recite sections of the Constitution. Just recognise how important it is. And this is why they buried it. And this is why they're trying to ignore it. And it is the only way we are going to get this country back peacefully and lawfully. Yeah. So the more Australians that can attend these court cases And as I said, I'll send them to you, Batty, and some others so you can share them out. Read the cases if you like. You will see the irrefutable arguments and you'll see the corruption, how and where they're doing it. Because this is how they're facilitating the control that, WHO and World Economic Forum, UN, etc. This is how they're implementing their instructions, is through creating acts, and it's all in the guise to keep us safe.
Yeah,
of course.
No, it's always for your
crazy.
safety. So I didn't realize I was threatened by so many things until they told me it was for my safety. It's very kind of them to be, so forethinking, to realize that I needed to be protected from online. Ever since I've been using the internet, the only thing I've been worried about is the government, not the information that I find on the internet. The government is the only thing that worries me on the internet. It's not information. I'm a big boy. I can figure it out for myself. Thank you very much. And I noticed that on X, they've got a really good feature that they've started. They've got a little grok button on there now. So anything that's posted, you can just click on it and it'll search through the internet for you and bring out all the facts pertaining to what's been stated. So it's like a really quick, instant access to scan through any statements and figure out what's true and what's not. I mean, it's not the be all and end all. It's a starting point, like anything. But it's a pretty cool little feature that
Look,
Elon's
it is
come
a
up
cool
with.
feature. But think about this with it as well. It is providing you all of the facts that they are happy for you to have. But what are they not providing?
Well, that's it. If the internet is filtered and that information database is only going to point in one direction, then we have a problem. See, this is again like the idea of AI isn't the problem. It's what's been fed into it. It's the same as the statistical analysis. If you haven't fed the information incorrect, then you're not going to get the right answer. So all the information needs to be available. You can't pick and choose what's right and wrong, as our e-safety commissioner might think she has the amazing, stunning ability to do so. Like, I mean, wow, that's one hell of a knowledge base that woman must have to know what's right and wrong about absolutely everything on the internet. Wow, I wish I was that smart. But,
it'd be great to get this online case done. And guess what? Her job's just going to disappear because the act's going to be gone.
Well,
makes me so cross. It absolutely infuriates me what is going on.
No, it's madness, and it's simply communism on a globalist level. That's what the globalism is all about. It's just full blown.
Oh, absolutely. And don't forget. Yep. And this is the thing as well. I keep saying this is an IQ test and a tolerance test. They're doing everything blatantly in front of us. So, the government down here in Victoria, there's a beautiful old immigrant. I think she could have been an elderly Muslim woman. So regardless of the fact that they'd been here for maybe 15 or so years, that was a big news story to put on the news. The government, giving her the keys to this beautiful new apartment. So they're setting the scene for people to be frustrated, going, hold on a minute, how come there are so many Australians, born here that aren't being given that before her? So, excuse me, the government are creating these scenes. Now, this, again, is happening with First Nations, with this business, with the treaty power, with nobody being able to object to anything with our land anymore, and it's going through this First Nation Council, which isn't really First Nations, it's freaking government corporates.
Yeah.
And the other thing,
and picks the appropriate Indigenous people who will say what the government and the globalists want.
Absolutely. So the other thing down here in Victoria, get this, they have just passed that any First Nation or Torres Strait Islander that walks into a hospital or a medical centre has preference over everybody else and must be attended to within 30 minutes.
Medical apartheid.
It's medical apartheid. They are creating two classes of citizen. The Constitution does not allow for that. So what they are doing here
is... It just takes you right back to that period in America where you had the white people up the front, black people at the back.
Yep. Once again, this is all Everything is designed. It is a stage show. That's what it is. Everything is inverted and it is flipped. Every situation, every anxiety or fear or doubt is caused by the government. So the other interesting thing is you will see all of these big billboards around about, for our children, the government have got all these wonderful psychologists and psychiatrists that, we can send our children to, because our children are now suffering a lot of mental anguish and stress because of, issues such as climate change. And, they're not sure if they want to be a boy or a girl, or who the fuck is putting this bullshit in their heads?
Exactly. They caused the problem, and now, look, we've got a solution to the problem we've caused. Good old problem reaction solution again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, what we are seeing here is a gradual removal of our rights. It is being done in stealth, always under the guise of safety. So I can't remember who I was talking to yesterday, but they were saying what's occurring as well is you've got people that have been put into mental institutions and they are forcing mind-altering drugs onto them, which could have, consequences for the rest of their life. So they're forcing medication and, claiming someone's got a mental illness because of their thoughts on a certain subject matter. It's like, excuse me, what the fuck?
In other words, if you're having a conversation like this, we can be declared now mentally ill because it's not going along with the system.
Yeah, that's basically the thing. So they're trying to stop our movement. They're trying to remove any right to bodily autonomy. They are trying to remove our ability to speak freely, and they're trying to control what we think.
Yeah.
They can shove it up their ass.
To defend ourselves as well, in a lot of ways.
Absolutely. So this is another very important reason why people need to just watch what's going on in the courtrooms, because what they're trying to do now is they're trying to remove appellate rights, and they're trying to remove things such as injunctions, which is like a stop on something until a matter is determined. So always under, behind the curtain, behind the scene, they're trying to remove another right.
Yeah.
So everyone, please get on board with these cases. Please support us. We've dedicated our lives to doing this, and you've got, wonderful people like Rod Culleton, Beverly Peers, and beautiful Dawn Kelly's doing the online case. So get behind these people. Please donate into the CLRA account to support them and all future cases.
Will be coming up on Constitution Watch shortly.
Yeah.
So there's the website for that, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to get on board, it's obviously, I don't believe it's up just yet, unless Darren's been conjuring a miracle in the background there. But it will be soon.
No miracle.
No miracle. No water to wine.
Tomorrow, we said. No, just
tomorrow.
Ginger beer.
So tomorrow we'll have water to wine. Today I'm turning water into beer.
We've turned it into ginger beer.
Oh, nice. Oh, that lid's on properly. Had a couple of duds lately. Very depressing. You open it up and there's no and you're like, oh no.
Oh no, no aeration.
Yeah, so I guess
look, we've got to watch these bastards. We've got to watch these bastards and what they're doing, Betty.
Oh yeah, that's it. You've got to keep an eye on them, and thank you for all the great work that you do, Jacquie, and I hope everybody watching is inspired by it and, conjures up something that they themselves can do to maintain our freedom. That's what the North Queensland Freedom Network is here for, is to celebrate our freedom and all the wonderful things we do to protect it. So
that's it. Celebrate it, because we are free and we're not going to let it go.
That's it. As far as I'm concerned, we've already won the war. Sips to that. We're just going through the motions and showing all those who are still asleep what's actually happened. There's a lot of walking dead out there that don't seem to realize that they've already lost. Yeah,
absolutely. Look, I think it's a spiritual war, as we know, and The earth is going through changes. So it's so very clear that everything is such a well-designed stage show. What we are seeing is nothing but deceit and fabrication and manipulation. We are in a time where even the courts and the corruption in the courts, they are basically operating that you are guilty until you prove yourself innocent. There is no investigation on anything, and they are just crucifying people absent any facts in evidence. So everyone needs to get on the ball with the bare bones basics. And I will repeat, anybody that has an indictable offence or is going, this is for the magistrates court, okay, or has, I think it's larger fines, so fines that are in, say, for example, the tens of thousands. The magistrates court is a court of petty sessions. They have no jurisdiction to hear indictable matters absent informed consent. So if you are just giving your consent because they've wrangled and deceived you into thinking that the stacking of charges they did against you to arrange the plea bargaining with the prosecution, so the prosecutor goes, well, you know what, Betty? I tell you what, you plead guilty to this one out of the 10 charges and we'll drop the other 9, mate. How's that sound? And you go, oh, thank you so much. That's wonderful. You've just consented.
Yeah.
You've just consented. But were you aware that your matter should be heard in the county court in front of a jury of your peers? And that's what everybody can demand.
Jury only, thank you. No more decisions by star chambers.
Yeah, absolutely. It's absolutely insane what is going on in this country. Look, there are, I will say, even though all of the state courts are corrupt, there is collusion, perverting the course of justice, etc. There still are good people in the system. Like we have seen some really lovely magistrates. There are good people, even though they seem to be at a much lower percentage.
Yes.
In these systems, but
I think one of the most disturbing things, and I've got to grab this quote from the movie Dogma. You know, where in the movie they're talking about how an old man gets beaten, and there's witnesses standing around, but amazingly nobody's seen a goddamn thing. There's only a handful of evil, but the apathy of good people, the people who won't stand up and do the right thing, is even more dangerous. You know what's happening is wrong, then don't go along with it.
Absolutely. What do they say? An example of evil is good men and women standing around and doing nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
And we do it peacefully and lawfully. Yeah.
Don't just watch these podcasts and be outraged. Get inspired. Find what you can do and get involved somehow and bring it here to the North Queensland Freedom Network, because this is my little role in the matter, is to provide this network for all the other great people out there to showcase their amazing work. It's unlike, it's like one of those things that occurred to me. The mainstream media are actually thieves.
Absolutely, they are.
What they do is they go around and they steal other people's stories, and according to the land
and bastardize them.
Yeah, they put their byline. They actually say it's by them. That's their story. Wrong. This is not how it's supposed to be. You should be coming and sharing your story here, where it's still your story. That's what my offer here to the Freedom Network is. It's for people to share their story, not for me to take it away, strip it down to bare bones, manipulate, twist it, kick the shit out of it.
Leave out all the truth.
Present it. Yeah, leave out all the inconvenient truths.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's just, it is such a crazy, crazy, crazy world. But look, I'm really, I'm happy and I'm excited for Rod and Dr. Beverly for Friday the 14th of November at 9 a.m. in the New South Wales Supreme Court, because this is another aspect of things. It's not just removing, removing the power they have by invalidating these acts that are repugnant to the Constitution, being able to put these control mechanisms in place. That's one aspect, but making people accountable for their actions, such as Anna Bennett perverting the course of justice and obstructing, the people getting into the High Court to ensure that their constitutional provisions and protections are upheld. How dare you? So this is the thing. We've got cases there as well for corporations, whether or not it's someone like, let's say, APRA, for example. They are a statutory corporation.
Yep.
They are responsible for suspending, I couldn't tell you how many hundreds of doctors, at least 16 of which have successfully suicided because they destroyed them. They came in and gagged them from telling the truth. APRA is a statutory corporation.
Murder, or at least manslaughter.
Absolutely. They cannot administer the law, Batty.
Yeah.
They cannot administer the law. And this is the thing we need to start looking at. So plaintiffs, please, once we knock out this corporation thing, it'll take a few bricks out of the wall at a time.
So just quickly, before I go and chuck a little video on for a short break and perhaps release you and move on to the next section here, to be a plaintiff, what kind of attributes does someone require?
Look, so long as you can retain information. So the cases are generally, each matter is very streamlined, and the argument is focused on, one or two or maybe three elements. So everything's in front of you. Everything's in front of you. You can read it and see it for yourself. You will be able to look at the case. You will then be able to go into Jade. Like, you can see where the arguments have come from. You can go in and do your own research, look at the High Court case law, look at the principles and the precedents that have been set. This is the thing. I do my best.
The quality skills of perhaps, being on the debating team or something to that effect,
Oh, yes, that would be brilliant. But somebody
a bit of strength of character, strength within yourself, obviously, people like yourselves and Darren will be behind them to provide the information they need. So they're going in armed to the teeth. You're not going in stark naked with little more than a toothbrush to fight a war.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, so that's the bottom line of it. And it'll be someone who can remain focused on the arguments, because it's another trick of the courts and they're the defence in these matters, the defence to try and distract and divert you off onto another train of thought that is not relevant to the matter. Stay on track, stay focused.
Stay on target. Stay on target. Another Star Wars quote.
Yeah. Like, it's mind-blowing stuff. It really is. Like, for example, the Biosecurity Act, which is a federal act, sections 478 and 479 of the Biosecurity Act is where the WHO recommendations have been written into Australian federal legislation.
Wow.
Excuse me, how can a private organisation have their recommendations written into our legislation? I think that's invalid. In fact, I think that's bordering on treason.
Yeah, it's adhering to a foreign power at the very least, and I believe that is against the Constitution.
See, this is the thing. This also brings into play the arguments with treaty as well. So, yes, interesting stuff. But look, I'm going to try and get as much as possible up. I'll send it to you, and I'll get Darren to put it up on constitutionwatch.com.au as well. Rod's case, Dr. Beverly's, and the online. And yeah,
and obviously anybody who can make it down to court in New South Wales on the 14th of this month. Which court was it again?
New South Wales Supreme Court. Thank you, Leanda Kelly, 184 Phillip
She was
Street,
onto
Sydney.
it. As soon as I said the words, the answer appears. Look at that. Wonderful audience. Wonderful audience.
Yay, thank you. Yeah, this is the thing. We need no more protesting at the front of Parliament House. If we're going to gather, we need to be gathering at the front of the High Court and saying we demand our Constitution is upheld.
Yep.
Demand it. We're the power people.
No more asking master through, please, sir, can I have some more? None of that shit.
Yeah, no way.
It's time that they adhere to the fact that we, the people, are the power, and that they will do as they are told, as they are civil servants, which makes us the masters.
Absolutely, we are, and that is enshrined in law and in history.
Yeah,
we are the absolutely supreme authority of this nation. They are our public servants, and they need to be pulled into line and made accountable for what they have done.
If it takes a cat of nine tails to sort out the servant, then I guess we're going to need to do it. We have to get a little bit historic on these people.
I think, unfortunately, Patty, I think they might like that.
Wow, I nearly lost that out my nose. Given what John Adams just released, yeah, probably.
Until they're the age of 70, the retirement age they gave Australians.
Yep.
They can all go out on chain gangs, on picks and sledgehammers till they're 70. See how you like it.
A lot of capital works projects that, our politicians have failed to get sorted out. So, well, you couldn't sort it out with a pen and paper. Here's a shovel, mate. Off you go.
Yep. There's rubbish all over the roads. They can collect the rubbish. And at the end of the day, they can throw themselves in the dump.
It's only fit that they start cleaning up.
Yeah, and then throw themselves in the bin and stay there for an hour each day.
That's it,
Anyhow. Look.
No worries. Thanks for coming on,
we'll
Jackie. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
All good. We'll have a chat a bit later. All right.
We are the power, people. See you next time.
See you later.
See.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to quickly remind you guys of the short voice video that I did way back, since a few of these topics we've discussed today have sort of come up while I go have a quick pee break, and then I'll get into the election stuff that we've discovered, because there's some pretty cool content there. So here's a quick little video while I go and relieve some bladder tension and stretch the pain in my back. So I'll see you shortly. G'day Australia, my name is Mark Batt, and I'm just an average white fellow with a camera whose family's been here in Australia for so long we're not even sure how we got here. Like all Australians though, we've been asked to vote on the referendum to change our constitution to be more inclusive of an Indigenous voice. So I did what seems pretty strange to the standard mainstream media narrative, and I went and asked the blackfellas what they thought. As a result of this radical idea, I was recently invited on country by the Wagamay people to their Wagamay National Camp, consisting of some 28 different tribes who all gathered to address the situation themselves. This is the short version of what they had to say about the voice of Parliament.
Well, no, because we're not about dividing everyone. We need to work together.
I wouldn't even imagine what the voice is, but I know what constitutional recognition is.
Because we don't believe that the voice will be a voice for Parliament. We just think it'll be the government more reasons to govern things that they couldn't before.
If they get this voice, they will still do the same thing what they're doing all the time. This does not help anybody. What it is causing, it's causing division amongst race.
Queen Victoria said in the Pacific Island Protection Act and the Pacific Order we're another state. Virtually, you can't make laws for these people. So how is it they can try and drag us into their referendum?
No matter where you're from and what nationality is about sort of achieving justice for all of us, really, for humanity, you know.
They haven't been down to talk to any tribes from the grassroots. This is where they've got to get it from.
The voice is about entrapment.
So that was the short version. If you'd like to do things the Kamal way and get an informed no under your belt, then I highly recommend you follow the link in the description to the longer version. Big shout out and a huge thanks to all the Indigenous people who spoke with us during the course of this little documentary we've made. And I can't emphasize enough how easy it is to just walk up and talk to these people. Because if you want to give the Indigenous a voice, you might want to start by listening to them. And I'm back again. All right, so that was the short version, obviously. So there's been some shenanigans going on as usual, and it's quite relevant that we discuss these things. Sorry, Brendan, I'm doing a podcast, Blake. You know what's going on, surely. Anyway, I'll give him a call back. So let me just quickly bring up this file here. So this is a prime example of the wonderful work that everybody can do. You know, like you don't necessarily have to have the skills to come up and have a yarn on the podcast, although it does make life a lot easier if you have the courage to come forth and actually talk about what you've done. But thanks to Rocket and Janine for bringing this to my attention. There's Janine here has put together a really good short version. Rocket gave me a rather detailed version, which is all good. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think for this purposes of what I'm trying to achieve here, this will probably work out best. So there is a piece of legislation that people should be aware of regarding the election signs. Where's the link? Here's the link here. So for anybody who would like to actually go and have a look at the legislation themselves, which I always recommend people do because they'll have the full lot of stuff in it. I'm posting the link in the comments here. I will also chuck that on Telegram a bit later. But some key points that are really important regarding election signs. And these were, as pointed out here, a copy of this was given to the mayoral candidates who attended the Magnetic Island Residents and Ratepayers Association meeting on Magnetic Island yesterday, and also checked over by a lawyer, apparently. So all the candidates are aware of this. And if they've still got signs up now that are breaching these laws, then report them. You know, don't go taking signs down as much as people may feel inspired to do so. It doesn't really help. So you got to approach the candidates, remind them that they have been given this information and that it's stupid excuses such as, oh, a volunteer must have done it, doesn't cut it. They are responsible for it. And if they've given these signs to volunteers to put up, then those volunteers should be aware of these things as well. You know, a sign must be no larger than 0.6 meters squared. Must be easily broken so that you can break it down and get rid of it if needed, and must have a timer stake. I think it's supposed to be timber stake, sorry. I'll just correct that. A timber stake or frame that is easily broken down. So location must be freestanding. So, you know, that means they're not supposed to be attached to other things, trailers and whatnot. Must be 3.5 meters from the edge of the nearest traffic lane on roads with speed limits 80 kilometers or less. Now, I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen. I've seen a hell of a lot of these signs around town that are pretty much may as well be on the road, you know. Must not be on traffic islands, center median strips, which I've seen plenty of them in that, or roundabouts. Must not be attached to trailers. Anne-Marie Greeny and Nick Demeter have both been doing this. You know, I guess it helps when you've got thousands and thousands of dollars being donated to your accounts by people in the public, yeah, righto, or vehicles parked for the purpose of displaying election signs. So you can't go painting up your vehicle and parking it wherever you bloody like either. Placement must not be attached to trees, vegetation, or structures such as road signs, guardrails, light poles, or power poles. Something else that seems to be happening quite a lot around this town too. Wish we had this information a few weeks ago, but better late than never. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is very important stuff, because let's have a look at some of the photos that have been sent to me as well, displaying how these people have actually been in violation of the law. So, good old Greenie. This one is in a medium strip. As we say, oh, sorry, got to remove this and add this. Sorry. So as we seen before, share screen, you know, here this one in Bamford Lane. Anne-Marie Greenie. Now, I mean, outside of the fact this is a very offensive image, and I actually kind of upchuck every time I see her face. This is in a medium strip, and that I'm not really good with measurements and stuff, but I'm pretty confident that that's not 3.5 meters away from the curb there too. That's an active road. That's two points in one go that Anne-Marie Greenie's managed to fail there. She is a Division 3 councillor. Division 3, isn't it? I'm pretty sure. She's been a councillor for 10 years, apparently. Apparently, she's experienced, but not experienced enough to know where election signs should go, it would seem. You know, both Nick Demetto and Anne-Marie Greenie have put this, affixed this to, I guess you could call it a kind of a guardrail in a sense. It's also in a medium strip, and is also right. That's no way in hell. These signs are 3.5 meters away from this traffic lane here. You can see indicated by the arrow that this is a turning lane as well as a straightforward lane. I would imagine the ones on the other side here are fundamentally the same. So it would seem that both these candidates can't follow the laws themselves. Sorry, I don't think they're worthy of being mayor if you can't follow basic signs. Now, it should also be considered that this is a crossing lane. How are you this? And it's blocking your view of oncoming traffic. Imagine you're a child, or heaven forbid, a short person. You can't see because these irresponsible idiots have put their signs in a very dangerous location. This is a health hazard to the public as well as a violation of the law. Well done, guys. Same thing again. We're hindering people's ability, especially young children's ability to see oncoming traffic. That's actually a health hazard, and illegally placed in a medium strip, and not close enough. There's three times there. You know, let's start getting these people into some trouble, shall we? I think these things need to be reported. This one here, Riverway Condon, again in the middle of a medium strip, not 3.5 meters away from the road either. Well done. You know, again, in the medium strip, blocking people's view, young children's view from being able to see oncoming traffic, not 3.5 meters away. Well done, guys. You guys are really, would you want these people to be mayor? They can't even put signs up properly. Plus, it's affixed to a guardrail. What's that for? Well, it's a trailer. Says you can't do that. It's more than 3.5. It's more than 0.6 meters squared in size too. It's too big. It's affixed to a trailer, probably parked illegally. Well done, Nick. Good job, mate. Good job. You know, and I know Anne-Marie Greenie's been noted to have done the same thing around town, and even parked in places that say no parking. You know, talk about a sense of entitlement. These people are unreal. So I don't think either of them are responsible enough to be mayor. But look, wait, there's still more. Let's have a look at my share screen. Hang on, where is it? I have to actually bring up. I've got to bring the thing up so it'll see it. Share screen, because it wasn't on the screen. There we go. Let's have a look at this. So bring that up. So in amongst here, we've got some the donations that are being made. Sorry, wrong one. So that's $10,000 that's been donated by Elisa Holmes. When I had a look for Lisa Holmes, it seems that she seems to be mixed up with Townsville Enterprise. You know, there was this bulletin article here which seems to indicate who Lisa Holmes is this woman here, as I understand it. You know, some more of the, you know, the high-end measures of town, possibly somewhere associated with the casino as well. And so there's one of our donors. Somebody who's got $10,000 just lying around to give to Anne-Marie Greeny. Yeah, got to wonder what kind of kickbacks does that entail. But if we come back here, we go to local, and I'm pretty sure we can come. Is it Townsville? I think I actually can't. Well, anyway, you can see they're coming up here anyway. So there's just a few bucks coming into this Joanne Margaret Cooner person, $20, $10, nothing to really worry about. But Nick DeMetto, $5,000 from Graham John Roland Wheeler, $5,000 there, $5,000 from Desley Faye Wheeler as well. So it looks like two people possibly, partnered. Those $10,000 come from this one particular family. It's two separate donations from two different people. Isn't that interesting? Anne-Marie Greeny got $5,000 from Diane Powers. Ranjit Singe gave Nick DeMetto $2,000 as well. These people got a lot of money lying around. I wish I had that much money. Trevor Hart gave $1,000 to Anne-Marie Greeny. Poor Troy Thompson got a whole $150. I'm guessing that's why we don't see any of his signs that put illegally around town. Another $5,000 to Nick from Rodney Arthur Battle. These people have got a lot of money, to be making these donations. David Kippen got $3,000 from Brian Hayes. Another one to Troy, a whole $450 from Stephen Clare. Good job, Steve. We know who Stephen is. David Kippen got $5,000 here. Lisa Holmes, there's the $10,000 for Anne-Marie Greeny. It's a lot of money getting around for two specific candidates. It's almost as if the elite in this town have chosen who should really be running here. Another $3,000 for Nick DeMetto from Belinda Johnson. Another $2,000 from Peter Bradshaw for Nick DeMetto. Or $1,000 from Kenneth John Willing for Nick DeMetto. $1,000 from David Kippen to David Kippen. Wow. Peter Keane, $5,000 to Nick DeMetto. Gee, he's making a lot of money out of this. There's a lot of money being pumped into it. I guess that's why he can afford to illegally park trailers around town. Peter Robert McGregor for the Liberal National Party. That's not really helpful, but that's $7,990. Isn't that an interesting sum? Irrelevant to what we're talking about. But anyway, SAS Consulting Group. Clements. So these are not particularly relevant. It's just going through time at the moment because I've got to filter this out. Election. Here we go. That's what I wanted to do. We'll filter them out. Apply. So now we're getting into a little bit more, sort things out a little bit more. So yeah. And here's page 2. That's where we wanted to go. And again, Peter Keane, another $5,000. So, Team Greg Williamson. I don't remember Team Greg Williamson anyway. Gregory Roy Williamson gave himself, $8,638.92. So there's a lot of money floating around for specific candidates is the major point of this scenario here. Thousands and thousands of dollars going to Anne-Marie Greeny and to Nick DeMetto for their election campaign. Any wonder that, they can afford to have signs all over the place. But does it really matter? Is it going to really help them? I mean, at the end of the day, there's a big shift in the world going on here. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to see the short videos I've been putting out for the Troy Thompson campaign, where we're going for democracy over bureaucracy. And you see certain people like the bureaucracy, I'm guessing, because they're funding bureaucratic kinds of people. Anne-Marie Greeny is not a people person. She has not helped the town in my personal view, and nor is it the view of many other people. So I can't believe you would actually stand by this horrible candidate, in my opinion. Let's see now. Where is it? Island. So here's the Sooning Street Bridge video. I'll just load this one up. I'll probably just do this one because I want to keep it brief. So have a watch of this if you haven't seen it already. Wonderful work here. I don't think so myself. G'day freedom lovers, how you all going? Got a special one for you today. On the 27th of October, Troy Thompson made the trip over to Magnetic Island to talk to concerned residents regarding what could be perceived as neglect from the Townsville City Council. One issue is the Sooning Street Bridge in Nellie Bay, which was first damaged during the last wet season as debris clogged the underpass in December of 2024, before it was completely destroyed in February of this year. This has left residents and tourists with limited capacity to traverse this magnificent island. 8 months later, a demolition site is all that remains of the bridge. Now, I would just like to point out quickly, because I didn't actually make the point in the video, that these rocks are so small that with a decent flood rain coming down all this stuff's just going to get washed into the bay anyway, which leads us to another point, which is the second video where they've got to dredge the harbour because of all the materials going down it. So yeah, interesting, isn't it? Site is all that remains of the bridge. Plans for the construction are still in the pipeline. There is an update that was released by the Townsville City Council on their website on the 27th of October. Investments, TBC. This alphabet soup seems to indicate to be confirmed. The warm and fuzzy goal, a city that connects you to what you need at the time you choose. Really? Well, I wanted to cross the bridge on the 27th, the day of this release. Apparently I couldn't do that. Wonder why? A strategic purpose that helps you little people comprehend the complexity of what a bridge does. So I guess the residents of Magnetic Island that used the former bridge for however long that they've been over there may still be confused about the purpose of a bridge. So glad the Townsville City Council is there to help us with such things. The status. One word. Planning. But wait, there's still more. Outlined. Yes, there is, because at the recent Magnetic Island meeting, apparently they're going to start driving in, what was the term? Pillars, I guess, for the new bridge, but the status is still planning. Apparently somebody in the meeting did ask the all-important question, if you haven't got a bridge design yet, how are you going to start driving in pillars? It doesn't seem to make sense. You tend to have the plans sorted out before you build things. But anyway, outlined on this incredibly informative page is a 3-step program. I guess it's a kind of rehab program for infrastructure in this town. Stage 1 will include a preliminary concept and detailed design. Stage I haven't even gotten to that stage. Stage 2 will include investigating and seeking funding to replace and reopen the bridge. Stage 3 will involve construction activities to remove, replace and reopen the bridge. Also included in this highly detailed concept plan, as you can see indicated by this part here in blue, they've given this a great amount of thought and decided there needs to be some kind of bridge structure. Astounding. How much money have we pumped into this? How much time have they spent coming up with that? It's worth noting that this is the electorate of Division 3 Councillor Anne-Marie Greeny, currently acting mayor and, for some reason, currently running for mayor herself in this by-election. It would seem she's struggling to maintain her own division, yet seems to think she can somehow sort out the whole town? Is it any wonder the community feels the need to reach out to people like Troy Thompson? This is Batty from the North Queensland Freedom Network. You can reach me at nqfreedomnetwork@protonmail.com should you have something else the public needs to be aware of. Thank you very much. Now, on this note, because, it's come up here, the How to Vote by Troy Thompson. I would like to emphasize to the people, there's a very interesting small line just underneath where it says Townsville City Council 2025 mayoral by-election. It says optional preferential voting. That means you only have to put a number 1 in the Troy Thompson box if that's how you feel. Personally, I do not want any votes to go to the two well-paid candidates, I will not be giving a vote to Nick Demetto or Anne-Marie Greenie, that's for sure. Paul Jacob had his chance. I think he's done some good things. It's been alleged that he basically said that the mayor was treated unfairly and glared at Anne-Marie Greenie, as has been reported to me when he said that, and wasn't given a fair chance. So I think Paul Jacob sort of has started to see that there's some dodgy shit going on. Perhaps that's why he's running himself. Do I trust him? Not really. At the end of the day, he was a part of that, even if he has seen the error of his ways now. Certainly won't be giving anything to David Kippen. I don't think I trust him either. Joanne Kuhn, apparently people have been saying some good things about how she's been ripping into Anne-Marie, which is always great to see, but don't know. Don't think I trust any of them. Honestly, the only person I see fit to do this, in my opinion, is Troy Thompson. And why is that? Because Troy Thompson is the only one who's had the decency to come and talk to us here face to face the people live on this network. None of the others have had the balls, the testicular or intestinal fortitude, if you will, to come and speak to us. So as far as I'm concerned, you don't get a number next to your name. I said that a few weeks ago now. If you don't come and talk to me, you're obviously not interested in representing me. So why would I give you a number? Sips. If someone is out and if Sean Gleeson is out and someone votes for him, would that make the ballot invalid? That's a good question. I'm not 100% certain, but I can imagine, seeing they're not going out of their way to reprint or change dates or anything like that, that they would pretty much, that would just go to the next number in line. I'd imagine that's how they're going to do it, because some people may have already cast their vote before he left. So I don't think the people could be held accountable for that. I don't think that's a pretty fair way to conduct a system. So just based on common sense and logic, I would assume that it wouldn't make the ballot invalid. It would simply just go, that would just not be counted, and it would go to the next number underneath. If the only thing you voted for was Sean Gleeson and you didn't put a number next to anyone's name, then yeah, your ballot's just gone in the bin. But that's the way I see it. Anybody actually knows the answer to that question, please feel free to let me know. But that's the way I'm assuming that it's going to go. So in other news, I think it's important to point out a Townsville Bulletin has been thieving from me. Daniel Shirky is going to get one hell of a shock soon, because he actually stole 25 seconds out of one of my clips, one of my videos. And everybody notices there is a notice at the front that says you must have express written permission to use this footage. Not only that, he actually cropped out the North Queensland Freedom Network logo, making sure that I didn't even get a mention for where it's come from, and simply just refers to it as a fringe political blog. So denying, where he's stolen this from even, so you're a thief as far as I'm concerned. I am going to do something about this. I've had enough of the Townsville bulletin stealing my things. You guys are crooks as far as I'm concerned. Not happy. And Daniel, I hope you got a good lawyer. So on that note, Sips, I'm going to go about the rest of my day, and I hope you're all having a good one. Sorry, shit, there goes again. The back has been a bit of a problem. I've had a whole bunch of life-changing things going on in my own personal world. Not up for discussing it really at this particular juncture in time. Things are probably going to be a little bit erratic. Fundamentally, I find myself heavily medicated from time to being. And as you just seen that, there it goes again. That's a stabbing pain that goes into my foot. So consequently, I'm no longer driving trucks. I'm not really doing well financially. So anything people want to do to contribute here to help out is always welcome. NQ Freedom Network at protonmail.com if you're not interested in going into the description and looking at the other options available. Obviously becoming a Patreon is one way that you can, make a monthly contribution. Some people have chosen to do that, and I want to thank all you amazing people who have done that, but certainly not enough to live on. as you've seen by the video that I just displayed, and there's a version, there's a video too, which I might end on. Actually, that's probably not a bad idea. So you can see the work that I've done there if you haven't seen the short videos. But please share those videos around. Make sure that anything election related gets those in there. Seems that Townsville Bulletin doesn't want to acknowledge me, you know, from where they steal their stuff from. Perhaps, you know, people might like to drop some comments in there on their electoral campaigns, and maybe even share a link or two. You know, that's just an idea to help get the counter narrative out there, because let's face it, they'll just do whatever the hell they want. That's usually the way it goes. So we do have the next video, which is the Kelly Street dump site. That was actually quite a challenge to put this together, because it's a very complex story. There is more to it. I might interject as we go. Oh. Yes, they are sucking us dry. And I understand, like, you know, if people can't afford to contribute, like, don't feel bad. I put this stuff out there for free because, unlike a Townsville Bulletin, I believe that people should have access to information that's very important to them, you know, regarding this coming election. That's why I do what I do. You know, so all of you out there who can't afford it can still at least get access to it. You know, and that's access is available for people to view, not for you to steal. Townsville Bulletin. You are story thieves. You go around everywhere you want and you steal other people's stories and you claim it as your own. That is one hell of a kind of theft. As soon as you put a byline on it, you know, especially when you steal it from my network, you steal the story from my network and then you go and put your own name on it. That is plagiarism. All the stuff that they've got against Troy half the time is coming from this network. They're stealing this stuff from here, you know. It's such a fringe network that they sit down and watch it themselves, going through it like with a fine-tooth comb, trying to find something, anything they can to attack the man. That's pathetic. It's childish. You are scum. I do not have any respect left for the mainstream media. They really do a very, very poor job. Anyway, sorry, pain, frustration is getting the best of me. Jesus. Anyway, you know, obviously there's a free trial of the Gaia network's available. There's a $10 on Stake if you want to, you know, have a play around with that sort of thing. You know, it's win some, you lose some. I've done all right on it. You know, it's a pretty easy app to use, I find, you know, so I recommend it. It's a really good way to sort of learn the stock market. And, you know, once you transfer some funds in, you get $10 for free. I get $10 for free. It's a win-win situation. Let's help each other out, you know. There, of course, the Bitcoin thing, you know, thanks to Jason for helping us set all this Bitcoin stuff up. You know, the reference code is there and it's all in the description as well. Oh, that's right. Yeah, the videos I've been working on obviously chew up quite a lot of time. You know, you see a 3-minute video, you see an 8-minute video or whatever, but you got to understand that it's actually days worth of work. You know, like we had to go out to the island. That chewed up a whole day getting around and getting the shots and the footage and all that sort of stuff. You know, we had you know, obviously we've got to get help to do these things because, you know, I can't carry heavy things at the moment, so I've got people helping me, which is really good. I have lightweight gear, so I travel lightly in the first place. But you know, I want to thank Alan, I want to thank Tina, I want to thank Mick and the other people on the Magnetic Island, John, who contributed to the stories and things like that. You guys are awesome, great people who really care about the community, and you know, I really want to thank you guys for all the help you guys by driving us around and helping me carry my gear and all that sort of stuff. You know, that's what this network's about. It's the teamwork. And, you know, as I was saying to a few people there, look, you know, we really need the community to step up and do some citizen journalism. You know, the North Queensland Freedom Network isn't just about me sitting in front of a microphone and a camera and having a yarn and a beer and telling you what I think. I want to know what you think. The people, like, this is supposed to be a community. You know, the big fault with the mainstream media, it's dickheads like Daniel who go and steal information from me. He gets to express his point of view. Now, you know, he might go and talk to a member of the community and steal their stories and then manipulate it in his own way. No, that stuff's stuff's got to end. It's time for you, the people, to come straight to the network and share your story. It is your story. This is just a platform for getting that information out there. You know, obviously, if you enjoy the short stories and the short videos, you know, I'd love to do that sort of stuff more often myself. And again, you know, they're not my stories. I've just put them together, and then I go and check that with Troy and Alan and the other people involved and go, hey, did I get this right? Have I told your story properly? You know, because I'm just retelling the situation, trying to help the community understand how things work, you know. So I love doing that sort of stuff, but I've spent all week knocking up 3 videos. That's how much time it's taken to actually get this done. So, you know, the bills aren't paying themselves fundamentally. So anything people can do to help contribute, let's build the NQ Freedom Network, because it is your network. I'm just its custodian. So anyway, let's get on with video 2. Video 3 is coming out. It'll probably be out tomorrow. Just waiting on, again, some final checks and balances to make sure the information is correct, and waiting on just a little bit of a photo, basically, if we can get one of, you know, one of the contributors to this scenario, because, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of people have put a lot of work into making sure this information gets out there. So here we go. Video 2. And as you can see, you know, like from that opening sequence, it must be really hard for, you know, journalists to read. They seem to miss this bit, you know, without express written permission. So I challenged Daniel to provide the written permission, you know, that he seems to think he has to steal my content.
Well, you don't expect the council to come along, do you, and put this problem in front of you when you've got a neighbourhood so close.
G'day, freedom lovers. Welcome to part 2 of Troy Thompson on Magnetic Island. Today we're going to talk about the issue at 55 Kelly Street. The issue at 55 Kelly Street is that the Nellie Bay Harbour needs to be dredged of unwanted material, which is a high percentage of sand that is flowing down from Gustav Creek and into the harbour, making ship navigation in the harbour difficult. Now, I'd like to point out that I don't think there's a journalist out there that can actually do the little animations I do. This is where, you know, my multiple skill set really comes in handy with these sorts of things. It's not just about you know, being able to write a story. You know, that's one part that I've done. I've written out this, you know, and I want to thank Alan for actually helping me write the script for this one too. Much appreciated, mate. So, you know, credit where credit's due, because I wasn't in possession of all the facts where he was. So this is a lot of this is, these 3 videos are very much Alan's project too. So he's the one who's made this happen, and I want to really acknowledge Alan's role in this. But yeah, like, I've never seen a reporter be able to do these sorts of things. So there's a knowledge of audio, visual, graphic design, all these sorts of things. I do all this by myself. Show me a reporter that's that talented. To resolve this issue, council want to dump the dredged material at 55 Kelly Street to be processed. Problems that could arise from this include dust blowing all over residential houses, bad smells from acid sulfate soils, which occurs when the dredged material is exposed to the atmosphere, possible contamination of the creek and the groundwater.
And that's going to affect everyone who lives here, the smell,
the
salt.
As you said, your freshwater contamination. Yep. It will go through the aquifers and the perch sand.
We have a bore right here. There's one there. There's one across the creek. We have another one just down over here.
So pretty much all these properties run off that same water
creek.
Source.
Yeah. Well, when we bought our property, we knew this was community land. So you're actually devaluing the land all around it as well.
Not to mention a possible environmental disaster.
Even in the meeting that we had over in Horseshoe Bay with council there to tell the community what they're planning, they actually brought up, and it was asked the question as well, was if we had a massive downpour, if they can guarantee that it wouldn't go over the bum wall and into the creek. And they said, oh no, we have no guarantees there at all.
This will have the effect of turning a commercially zoned area into an industrial waste site. The lack of community consultation consisted of council informing the people of their intentions to dump the waste at 55 Kelly Street. The community was not consulted. They were told how it was going to be. This has resulted in community backlash against the Townsville City Council and Division 3 Councillor Anne-Marie Greeny, the current acting mayor, and mayoral candidate for the coming by-election. Maybe she should be a little bit more focused on what's going on in her division. But, you know, each to their own, I guess. Should the council's proposal go ahead, an estimated 1,300 truckloads of dredge waste are to be driven to the site along roads that are already poorly maintained and stockpiled at 55 Kelly Street.
There's 1,300 body trucks to come up that road.
And what's happening to the road?
Yeah, it's
Road gets ripped up.
Apart.
That's right.
Yeah.
Everybody that I've spoken to here on the island has said to me, shouldn't be outside of council executive, that have said, oh, look, this is the only place we've got because of the cost. Cost is, you know, not really something that should be taken into account in this instance because it's an environmental issue. It doesn't meet what the code is, so it shouldn't be. It's pretty simple.
It is then to be processed by council for a period of around 2 years.
So if it's here for 2 years, it's going to be more than 2 years to get rid of all of the contamination that's been on site and in the water for a long period of time. So, you know, it's not a 2-year problem, is it? It's not a move in and this is going to happen for 2 years. This could go on for 5 years, 6 years.
The site has already been a dumping ground for council waste materials that have been washed back down Gustav Creek for years, including concrete, bitumen and asbestos.
Mate? Well, this is a creek that comes from council land. This used to just all be sand, but we've got asbestos coming down now. It's everywhere. You got bits of concrete, bitumen.
So this is all waste material from the council?
This is all from the council block.
Wow.
It's concrete again.
Yep.
Just in, you know, a few square feet.
Yep.
Piece of asbestos. My kids have actually come home with this, and this is how I found out where it was coming from, because when they were young, they came home and I was using this for chalk. And I come down, they were writing their names with this. And I grabbed it off and said, what are you doing? Don't touch that. And then I had to give them a chat about asbestos. And then they told me there was heaps of it up the creek, and I said, come and show me. Man, it took me over a few years ringing council and I would not do anything about it.
Effectively, this could become a never-ending cycle of waste material being dredged and dumped, then washed back down the creek into the harbour, only to have this cycle repeat over and over again. An alternative solution has been offered by some members of the community, suggesting the utilisation of a suction cutter dredge coupled with a hydrocyclone filter, as the waste material is 60 to 70% sand materials, which when cleaned can be used to solve another issue at Nellie Bay. The Nellie Bay beach has been suffering from erosion. By utilising the hydrocyclone filter, we could clean the sand and then place it on the eroded areas at the Nellie Bay beach.
Wouldn't that be best and less travel, less costs,
less
more
impact,
environmentally friendly?
Yep. Well, none of the material has to come here, and with a hydrocyclone, the cost saving is that better than 60% of the volume gets taken out straight away and put on the Nellie Bay beach.
The remaining waste is able to be put into the maintenance dredging section of the Townsville port. The stakeholder for these works, which is the Townsville City Council, simply has to apply to the state government to put this material at the port. Once the permit is granted by state government, the Townsville Port Authority simply complies with the permit conditions.
Just doesn't make sense. You talk about natural habitat and you talk about your land, your space, your green areas. You're doing everything right, but it's almost like the council's working against you. I just don't see the sense in this project at all.
Before we go, one last thing. Troy Thompson has been allegedly accused of lying to the public over a year and a half ago, a point that the mainstream media and those who stand against him just won't let go of. They keep banging that drum over and over again. Yet, in the course of this, it seems that the council themselves have been caught lying, not once, but twice.
We had a meeting with council, and they were all there at the meeting over town, and we brought up, why doesn't it go to the port? And they said, we've contacted the port authority, and when they're doing the dredging over there, they can't take any more material. Our next meeting, about an hour later, we had a meeting with Phil Thompson and Adam Bailey, which just came from the port, and they told us they had a meeting with the management down there, and they said the council hadn't approached them at all. So the council just straight out lied. They tried telling us it was topsoil there. They said that twice to us as well, Matthew, at the council, and he said, "Oh, that's just like topsoil, Jono." And yet, in community garden, they brought up in one of the meetings, and that council backstepped and said, "Oh no, nothing will grow in it. It's full of salt."
I'm Batty from the North Queensland Freedom Network. If you have any stories that you think so you get the general idea, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah. But the other thing about that site that's very interesting too is that, you know, there's other community projects that could be done there. You know, an aged care facility is one that's been suggested, and there's another healthcare service there as well that's up for some sort of renovation and whatnot that could potentially be moved to that site, which is, you know, more convenient, further away from potential cyclone damage and things like that. It's actually a much more logical scenario. Something I was going to add to the story, but the story was pretty long as it was, and we're trying to aim for things that grab those short attention span people. Oh, excuse me. So I want to thank all you long attention span people, all you people who do have the time and the effort to want to learn and know things, who don't just go for the quick and easy path as Vader did. Another Star Wars quote for the day. You'll notice that in all these videos, I'm always wearing a Star Wars t-shirt, as I am too today. There's a reason for that. Can you figure it out? Are you smart enough? So anyway, you know, it's those subtle kind of things that movie makers and, you know, tricky little fuckers like me do, you know, plant little things in there. Like, did you notice that I was wearing this themed t-shirt throughout the whole thing? Why did he do that? $1 million question, you know. You know, I might be trying to say something about the scenario. Interesting. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm done. You know, mentally, physically, I need a break. Been at this for a long time. I've got to get up every hour or so to stretch and work through the pain that I'm in all the time. And you can probably tell there's a little bit of clutter in the mind at the moment, just as a result of a year of constant friggin' pain. You know, it's starting to wear on me. Hey, you know. Anyway, I'll talk more about these things in the future when the time is right. Right now, the time is not right. The price is not right. You know, so look, you guys all have a good one. I'll see what we're going to do next week. Everything's just a little bit up in the air. I know it's nice and easy. You know, Batty's on at friggin' 8 o'clock Queensland time and on a Friday, and you know he's usually somewhere between 11 and 3 o'clock on a Sunday. It's a bit erratic. I know I'm a random bastard like that. It's nice and easy to have set schedules and set plans, because that's what we've been taught to do all our lives. Make sure you're at school at 9 o'clock. Make sure you knock off at 3 or 3:30 or 3:15, whatever bloody worked in your school, whatever. You know, personally, I think a new part of the new age is we need to get rid of that scheduled must do this at do that time. You know, just stay tuned, keep an eye on things. Yeah, get a hold of that. If you're watching on like YouTube or BitChute or Rumble or something like that, I don't have the ability to just go, oh, here's a text explaining what's going on. So you need to watch either the Facebook, the X, or the Telegram. Pick one of those if you're watching from those video places to keep up to date with what's going on. If I'm not going to do a show, I do let people know. And yeah, make sure you got the subscribe button and all those other things so that you get a notification when something's happening, you know, on any of your chosen platforms as well, so that you don't miss something. Because I know a lot of you amazing people tune in live. It's always good to see the same amazing people constantly helping out. There was some really good helpful stuff come through today, so keep it going. You know, yeah, I'm the last free Kiwi. I've noted. How you going, man? You're gutted. Mate, try with it. It's not fun. It's killing me. It's killing me. You know, but thanks for watching and supporting. You know, check out the Me, the last free Kiwi's work on Rumble too. He's been releasing songs and doing some cool shit too. So go and check him out on Rumble. Is it just Rumble that you have, mate, or have you got like I think it's just Rumble, isn't it? It's usually what you send me a link to. So I'm just assuming that you only have a Rumble account. But yeah. What Andrew says, see a chiropractor if you haven't already. I haven't done the chiropractor yet. It's on my list of things to do. Apparently there's one in town who does some cool things. I'm a bit hesitant because of the way they do things, you know. I mean, this one bloke, he's got this friggin' machine that stretches you out. I was like, some sort of futuristic version of a medieval rack or something, you know. So forgive me, probably some past life trauma in there. You know, I'm pretty confident that I've been executed in just about every life that I've ever lived on this planet for being who I am. Doesn't stop me doing it, but you know, you kill me, I'll just come back and do it again. So you know, if you want me to leave forces of assholeness, you're gonna have to stop killing me. That's simple. Or is he just nuts? Who knows? What's in that homebrew? Well, right now, fuck all, the glass is empty. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. I'll be back in some way, shape, or form in the near future. I don't want to make any promises at this particular point. I am trying to focus in on healing at this particular point because, look, I'm just going to go. The system is one of the biggest problems. That's the long and the short of it. More the short end than the long end. You know, it hasn't been really helping. Am I able to recover? Is still a question that is out there. Some say yes, some say no. Depends on who you talk to. Look, you know, I'm still hoping for one of them med beds that Trump posted about a few weeks ago. You never know. Might be a futuristic solution in our near future. Has anybody noticed that 3i Atlas is, you know, still ramping people's opinions out through the roof at the moment too? Some interesting things going on there with the 3i Atlas. I encourage people to go and have a look. Oh, actually, just before we go, there's one more very important thing. I just seen it in a flash. Then, come on, load up, you bloody mongrel. And share screen, That was a very important thing for all you, especially. I noticed a lot of people on X at the moment. You want to get over to see John Adams. I hope this comes up on X. I actually don't know if X gets these comments and stuff. I know you guys can comment, but can you see them is another story. I posted this link into the links there. I'll also post that on Telegram with the other things I was talking about earlier. This John Adams, you know, as some may be aware, actually acquired the 1975 pedophile recording from the ABC. He was put under a great amount of legal restraint and been prevented from releasing it. He has now released it, and as far as I know, it is only available on X. As it said here, YouTube has taken it down. He's asking everybody to spread this video to everyone. I haven't actually watched it myself. I've been told about it, and I have a feeling I'm going to need quite a few drinks to be able to digest the horrific content that is displayed here. But it does give, from what I understand, a big shining light on just how bad things are in this country, you know. If I refresh that, oh no, it's still saying log in. So I was going to look at some of the comments, but no, we're done. Anyway, so yeah, no matter the legal threats or intimidation, the truth will prevail over darkness and evil, because protecting children is our highest duty. Most certainly it should be. You know, and have a look in the comments. There's actually a couple of absolute retards in there. Oh, well, you brought the cookers in. You know, it's like, oh, so you're basically saying pedophilia is okay, are you? Like, what kind of a sick fuck are you that you would defend this shit? You know, and they make the argument that why would you drag this shit up from 1975? Because it's still fucking happening. That's the problem. Seriously, you know, this is the elite all over. It's not just Jeffrey Epstein. It's not like he's the be all and end all. Like, this shit has been going on for centuries, no doubt. You know, there's some very, very sick people in this world. You have a look at what's written in the Bible, you know, regarding Sodom and Gomorrah and things like that. Hence the term sodomy. You know, like, come on, guys. Like, seriously, get a freaking reality check. Thousands of years of sick shit going on this planet. This is just one fine example of it. And look, I know it's horrible, and I know it's really confronting, and I know I'm going to need a few drinks to be able to digest this vile shit, but people need to be aware of it. It's that simple. So get a hold of it, check it out, watch it when you can. YouTube has banned it. I might do a podcast on it at some stage. I don't know. It depends on whether I can stomach it, to be honest. This is pretty fucked up stuff, you know. And I guess that's one of the hardest things as we, continue down the path of truth, logic, understanding, and reality, is that there is some really sick shit that has been happening in this planet for a very, very long time. Not just this cycle, but it would appear the previous cycle as well. That you're just going to have to accept. And the sooner you take that, step, I guess, towards going, right, it's time to understand what we're dealing with here, the better off you're going to be, because sooner or later there's going to be a big unveiling of just how bad things are. As we said with Jacquie earlier, that the amount of court cases and stuff, like we could be doing court cases for the rest of our lives. I mean, you can turn off all mainstream TV. You don't need to watch anything else. You're going to have all the entertainment you want in court cases from assholes being actually finally sorted out through all this vile shit. So yeah, that's me for the day, ladies and gentlemen. You have a good one. Do not get a response from my week. No, all good. No worries, ladies and gentlemen. All right, you have a good one. I'm done for today. You know who I am. You know where to find me. NQ Freedom Network at protonmail.com if you got anything. Time to step up, ladies and gentlemen. You can't just kick back and be entertained anymore. You got to get amongst it. You've got to do your bit, whatever that bit may be. And if you're not sure on that, go and have a hard look in the mirror and ask yourself, what am I good at? What can I do? I'm one of those unique individuals who has never stopped learning, has gone and taught himself so many things. And that should be an idea planted in your head. What do you want to learn? I can't do this because no more I can't. I would like to do this. I need to do that so I can do it. For instance, I would like to learn graphic design, so I went and learned how to do it. It was born out of necessity. I was in a band. I needed design work done. So I'm like, well, I don't want to pay someone. I'll just learn how to do it. Look at what I'm doing now. I learned special effects for the same reason. I learned video editing for the same reason. All the things I know, I've pretty much taught myself because I wanted to learn something. I'm teaching myself German. Why? Why not? I watch Star Trek with German subtitles at the moment. Even when I play a video game, I'm putting German subtitles on there to facilitate that learning process. Just an example of what you can do and how you can do it. Step up, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to step up. No more kicking back. No more just sitting there and waiting for somebody else to sort this shit out. Nobody is coming to save you. I think one of the biggest problems with the religious concept is that there will be a savior or a second coming of a savior. What if that savior is actually all of us? What if it's you? What if it's me? What if it's Jacquie? What if it's Darren? What if it's all the other all the other guests we have here? What if it's a combined effort? Not just one amazing savior coming to save you. What's that going to teach you? What are you going to get from that? Oh, another master? And you put yourself in another slave situation? No. You need to step up, be the master of your own destiny, take control of this shit. Otherwise, they will take control of you. Have a good one.